Okay, we're starting this video a little different. This is the set we're doing today, but we're time traveling. This is it over 4 weeks old. So you get to see that wear that we got when we did this set. So you get to see everything I did from beginning to end, the products that I used to achieve this design. So this is that set beforehand. She had a solid red set. She had them done, I believe, before Christmas and came back after Valentine's Day. So they're about 9-10 weeks old. I used the speedy bit from Light Elegance to reduce all that lifting and flake it off. Once we get close to the natural nail, we want to go ahead and use a less aggressive bit, like the shaper bit, which is a diamond crosscut style bit. Then I'm going to go in with the cutie patootie just to kind of jump off that prep, get the eponychium pushed back and start removing dead skin. And then we can detail removal of any, remnants of product that we need to get off, any gel color or anything like that. So these nails, were worn way too long. And we can get, people can go 8, 9, 10 weeks and they're excessively grown off, but we don't have any lifting. And that's beautiful. It's cool. But we're not really looking for those types of times between our sets. 3 to 4 weeks is pretty good. And that's way above what you would get at a standard salon. Generally, you're coming back every 2 weeks. Now, your refill and rebalance work is going to be a little different. But once we start going over, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 weeks, we can start, even if we don't have any lifting, we could start getting into where we're damaging the natural nail and just hurting. It can just be painful. So now I'm going in with the itty bitty bit, and I like to use this in both directions, forward and reverse, just to really detail those sidewalls and then that cuticle area to remove that dead skin as much as possible. When we use this bit, we want to keep it flush to the surface of the nail so that we don't create any rings. And then I like to use this between 6,000 to 8,000, maybe 9,000 RPMs if the client's skin is a little more tough. So you can see the nails are damaged, and it's because of the lifting. The client reported sounds so official, but she said she got lifting at about week 6 or 7, so they did last really, really well. It's just when you start going, later and later, especially given the length of the nails as well, that is very much a factor. So there is damage to the natural nails. Just scheduling didn't work out, and that's how this comes to be. So you guys get those appointments in. I feel like if your nails last 3 weeks, that was a good job that was done between yourself or your client. So 3 weeks of wear, I think, is really good. 3 to 4 weeks is fantastic. But I think expectations at 3 weeks is really good. So I use the buffy bit to kind of buff the surface of the skin to remove any dead flaky skin. I use the perfect files to kind of flake off any product that was going to flake off. I used the kind of coarse side, and then I went to the finer side to just kind of etch the surface a little bit to make sure we have good adhesion. So I cleanse that off. I use the Pro Cleanser. I didn't show that. Then I'm using tack, and I'm applying tack to the natural nail and over the previous enhancement. The previous enhancement is going to be a full cover gel tip. That's what she previously had on her nail. So I'm applying the tack, like I said, on the natural nail and over that, so we can make sure our gel has great adhesion. Our hard gel has great adhesion with the previous enhancement and our new enhancement. Now, guys, what I'm doing here is fixing kind of the lifted areas, the part that we had to kind of chunk off that was doing bad, and I'm floating fiber in these corners and using an LED flashlight just to flash cure it, just to fill in these areas. And you can see, again, I started off with showing you how this set wore. I did that on purpose because we were going to do some things here many people didn't or wouldn't agree with because these are full cover gel tips that were previously used, and we're doing basically a refill rebalance situation with our Cashmere Extreme gel, which is a hard gel. Now, my justification in doing this is because I filed the previous enhancement, those full cover soft gel nails. I filed them very, very thin. It may be hard to tell, but they are very thin. And I'm using the gel polish brush and, like I said, Cashmere Extreme to do this fill on these nails. Well, at this point, it's not a fill, it's a hole, just building the nails basically. Because the previous enhancement, for the most part, at this point is acting as a tip. Just a tip that we would glue on. Of course, it's not glued on, but that's what it's acting like. So I filed it very thin so that we weren't counting on the structure of the shape to be supported by that previous kind of full cover gel tip that we had. So again, I started the video off to show you guys these nails wore really well. So as far as the actual gel application, you guys know I love to start off with the slip layer, and I cannot, say it enough. Please use a thin layer when you're applying your slip layer. It's going to be our guide, kind of our border to tell the bigger bead of gel where to go, where not to go. Our slip layer is a thin layer we polish on. We get as close as possible. We polish it as clean as possible without touching the skin. Then we get a bigger bead. We leave that wet. We don't cure it. We get a bigger bead, as you can see. And then we take that bead and manipulate it on top of that slip layer. And like I said, that slip layer is basically going to tell that gel, okay, this is where we need to go, this is where we don't go. It's not foolproof, but it sets out an initial boundary. It makes it a little more difficult for that gel to just go everywhere. There's other things that we want to be mindful of. Of course, the angle in which we're holding the finger is held in a downward slope. It may be kind of hard to tell in the video, but that way the gel is running down. Gel, if it self-levels to any degree, is going to be under the guise of gravity. So wherever gravity is, that's where the gel is going to want to go. So if you have it slightly tilted down, the gel is going to want to slightly move down the nail kind of towards the ground, towards the tip. And that can help reduce flooding in the cuticle area. It's not a, an end-all be-all situation where it will never flood, because not only is the gel, moving down the nail towards the tip, but it's flattening. Just again, it loves and respects gravity. So when it flattens out, it's self-leveling more towards the sidewalls. So the more self-leveling or the thinner viscosity your gel is, the faster it is going to self-level. So when we're building longer nails like this, having a more medium to thick viscosity gel is going to make your day a little bit better. So Cashmere Extreme is a really good viscosity for a little bit of our longer lengths. If we get too long, super XXL nails and things like that, you may be more comfortable building it with a builder, which doesn't self-level. But, it's kind of up to you. There's the builders, the hard gels, because there's one called builder. I know it can be a little confusing. You can use a variety of them. You can use them layered. I definitely recommend, you can literally layer them on top of each other. But I also recommend, even with your application, if we wanted to build this whole nail out of Cashmere Extreme, we could go at it in separate layers of Cashmere Extreme, so we don't have to work with as much product at one time, if that makes sense. So you don't need to build the nail up nice, beautifully, and flawlessly in one go. You can work with layers, and especially the thicker the gel is, the more of the heat spike you're going to potentially get. So if we work in thinner layers, it'll be a little more comfortable potentially. Of course, I recommend using a light or a lamp that has a low heat mode. On the LE light, which I'm working over, it's in the background, there is a mode. It says 120 seconds, it's 2 minutes. And what essentially it does, the light starts off in a lower, it literally looks less bright, so it's not curing as aggressively, as fast. So that kind of eases your heat spikes as well, or minimizes them where they're not really, you can't really feel them. Again, you can always start with a base layer applied and cure it. Just literally a thin layer of the Cashmere Extreme or whatever of your choosing, and go ahead and cure that. And once you cure that and start to build on top of it, it's because you applied it thin, it didn't cure hot. And then when you build that bigger bead, there's going to be a physical barrier between that big bead and the natural nail because we applied a thin layer and cured it first, if that makes sense. So you can see I'm manipulating this gel. I'm kind of dancing it. And when you work with gel, it's a very light touch. Please, please, please don't underestimate how light of a touch you need. If you're having difficulty, if you feel like you're too heavy-handed, please move your grip up your brush as well. So these are the nails filed in shape. I didn't catch it on camera, but look how cute. All done, crisped up. So now we're going into our design. So I'm using Jelly Belly. It's one of the new buttercream colors from Light Elegance. And it's not really done justice on this video at all. It is a beautiful sheer color, very sheer, and it has this cute pink kind of bluish purple flash to it. Oh, it's so cute, and I'm so sad I wasn't able to catch it really good on camera, but I'll show you a little insert to hopefully kind of portray the color. As you can see, it's like very, it's so very cute, and it's definitely impactful in real life to the naked eye, not on video. So definitely recommend. And it's so cute for the set because it is a candy, well, icing, sweet dessert kind of theme set. So I think it just went really good. I had the idea to kind of use it as a base to everything else. So we went ahead and cured that. And now we're going in and adding our sprinkles. And when I tell you guys, this design on this set is very cute. And I kind of wish I went a little more elaborate, maybe some more bling, maybe some more, detail. But once we did the surgery with the nails, that was a lot going on. So I'm using the swirly brush, and you can see I'm just adding these little short straight lines in just different directions, and I'm scattering the color out. So I started off with neon yellow, and these colors my client picked. We kind of used the regular color of sprinkles as a reference, and then she didn't want all the same ones, so we kind of subbed. So next I'm using Anchors Away, and I am between some of these flash curing. So just to let you know, I usually don't cut screen or show curing. So generally between layers, especially when I'm doing art, when I get something where I like it, how I like it, then I go ahead and flash cure it so we can lock it in. So next I'm using Real Red, and this is a perfect red. Definitely recommend. It's a really very true and balanced red. It's not too blue tone, not too warm toned. It's really neutral. I'm kind of cleaning up my little smudge I made. Now, let's address some things. In these nails, you can see the sides are kind of sheer, where the Cashmere Extreme wasn't completely built up at. It's not because it's not because the Cashmere Extreme itself isn't built up. It's because we worked over that previous enhancement. So that clear is just the previous, again, the full cover tip. Like I said, I filed it thin, but it wasn't completely gone, of course. So it's very thin. So some of it is clear. That's just, those are the cards that were dealt in the situation, just because, again, there was so much work with kind of repairing all that lifting and getting these nails built back up. So now I'm using Fresh to Death. I use Playful Pink, which is a beautiful bright pink. Ellie makes some pinks, guys, especially some great summer pinks. Fresh to Death is a very kind of bright, it's a very bright, nice green. So with these little kind of sprinkles, again, they're very simple. My biggest tip is to make sure they're kind of more balanced. I'm trying to fix that one part of that green one. Just make sure that they're kind of the same width from end to end, so it doesn't like get skinny one end. If you can try, it's going to make it look visually better. So I'm using Super Freak, which is a nice kind of orange, bright, it's coral. It's a nice bright coral, neon coral color. So one of my regrets with this set is not adding this white into our sprinkle nail. I wish I would have did white sprinkles with the other colors of the sprinkles in that full sprinkle nail. How many times can you say sprinkles? So I'm using white buttercream and I'm making this French. Now, my client wanted the French to drip towards the cuticle area. So that made this a little challenging because now the bottom of the French, what we usually fill in, has to be more crisp and clean. And that seems simple. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. It seems like it could be simple. Like, girl, you draw Frenches all day. But when that I'm not ever considering that bottom edge isn't going to be filled in, at least some kind of way. You know what I mean? So because the drips are going to go up towards the cuticle area, as you can see, I flipped the hand, then that edge that's towards the free edge, again, needs to be crisp. So I'm working on that, and I like to flip the hand. I say it all the time with a lot of my artwork, especially artwork that needs to be symmetrical, balanced. I like to flip the hand. When I'm manipulating the brush in certain directions, it's easier to flip the hand as well. As a right-handed person, you'll find that pulling the brush to the left and also pulling the brush up, you may find easier when you flip the hand, because that means you have to pull the brush down and to the right, and that's going to be a little easier, and vice versa if you're left-handed. So try flipping your client's hand if you find it weird to access the brush when you have to pull at those directions. So you can see I use the stylus tool, the bigger one, to make the bigger dots. And this is going to be the end of our little drips, the biggest part of it. And then I took the Selena Rydin stripey brush and I pulled a straight line up from there. And then we're going to take the swirly brush and we're going to connect those with a nice swirl. So we don't want any kind of sharp angles and edges. We don't want that line to go like from a skinny line to a big old drop. So we're going to make sure that dot that we put with that dotting tool is blended in with our straight line. So just kind of really watch the detail of these curves I'm putting in here. It's nothing too crazy or difficult, but there's certain things that'll make, I always say this, will make the thing, with my air quotes, will make the thing look like the thing. And you see how I'm making those circles blend in with that straight line? You see? And then I'm just curving. So everything is curved. You see I'm blending that. I'm taking that, making sure we curve it and we don't have any sharp edges. So just those little fine details are going to really help, again, make these drips read a little better. There's a variety of ways to do it, of course, but again, there's just certain details that we kind of, need to do in order to make sure that, the thing looks like the thing. I don't have better verbiage than that. So I'm just filling this in just little by little, trying to make it, read correctly, if you will. Now, again, you guys, I like to be honest, tell you my regrets, my mishaps with this drip. One, I kind of wish it was going the other way. The client likes it. I love it, of course. But it would have gave me kind of, it doesn't seem like it, but I felt like it would have gave me more room. Again, it doesn't seem like it, but I feel like it, if that makes sense. You see me blending this. You see how I'm blending that down so it doesn't look like a straight stick with a circle. So it doesn't look like a stick man, just straight line with a head on top. So we want to kind of blend that in. So I'm working over here in this corner. As you can see, I'm trying to make sure that's curved and we don't have any sharp edges. Now, in that corner, I just wanted to make it look like there was a final kind of drip over there. Fill that in as close as possible. Get it rounded, so you got to blend that out so there's no sharp kind of corner. I wish I would have, thickened this up, if you will. just because the drips are a little thin. But I couldn't really figure it out when she sent me the picture beforehand. I was expecting, it was an inspiration picture, and it had the French, but it had the drips going towards the free edge, towards the tip of the nail. I say that to say I wasn't mentally prepared for upwards drips. But we got it done. And take every set and learn from it. I think it was beautiful. And it came out really cute. It's just a little thing I would consider and possibly change. But again, the client, she loved it. It's what she asked for. I just kind of think aesthetically how, it's not working towards me, not towards me, for me. So I can make those changes in the future. If I ever come across it or something similar, I can have that as a consideration. So I added those same sprinkle colors in that, and you see the sprinkles are not able to be the same size. Again, because I just made the lines, the drips kind of thin. So the white should have taken up more of the nail. So this next design is relatively similar. Again, she wanted the drips to go towards the cuticle area, but it wasn't a French per se. Just kind of looks like it's coming across and dripping down. I want to go through this process the exact same. Start with that initial line, put those dots, draw a line straight down to our dripping starting point. So our first curve is going to be like our starting point, just like the French and the last one was our starting point. That's where our drip originated from. So dots up, and I recommend you do them at, varying lengths and change them from nail to nail so we can get some variety. That also will make it look nice and more like a thing. So following those same kind of principles with making these drips, as I mentioned, when you get an area where you don't feel like you can fit a drip, as you can see, I'm just gonna create like a faux little a little area that looks like it's about to be a drip. So the area in between your main drips doesn't have to be just this U curve. So you can see where I'm filling in right now, how it's just kind of a U in between that long drip on the left and the medium one on the right. Sometimes in between those, you can kind of form it with a little hill, so it looks like, maybe another drip was about to happen. So again, blending those dots with the line, you can see I'm swinging that out and just blending it in so it doesn't just, again, straight line to circle. We want to blend that, make it look like a raindrop essentially, and then blend that down. We can also, and I'm going to go in and add just like a loose drip. So you just add a circle and kind of pull it up a little bit. So I'm going to fill this in the same and add the sprinkles to this as well. So once we got all the little sprinkles added, I went ahead and cured this. I top coated. After I top coated, I buffed the surface of the nail just to ensure it was smooth. I dusted it off just to apply some little crystal accents. My client wanted some little crystals, so I went in and used the brush on nail glue from LE, and I went and just added 3, 4, 5 on just some of the drips themselves, just to add a little, extra pizzazz to the nail. We were trying to figure out, how to do the crystals. Maybe could have added some on that plain sprinkle nail, the one over to the left as well. But again, I'll mention, after the nail surgery, it was late into the evening, so this was nice and quick and cute. So I went ahead and top coated with Super Shiny. I didn't even have to use a detail brush just because these crystals were spread so far apart, and the tacky layer didn't really play a part. If we have any more detailed crystal work, I'd recommend using a no wipe top coat, but these are just scattered, and like I said, there were just 3 or 4. So this is our final look, you guys. Aren't these so cute for spring? I love the kind of candy cake frosting feeling these give. Like I said, there are some, I have some critiques on myself about this set, but I really think they came out great. I especially love that base color, that sparkle of that jelly bean color from the new buttercream collection. So you guys, definitely check out all these goods. Ellie has some great stuff for spring and summer always. But look at the sparkle on these. Look how fun and cute. So don't forget to check out Light Elegance for all the products mentioned in the video here. They have continued education and everything like that, so definitely check them out. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe, and let's put a candy or a sprinkle or a sweet emoji down below. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.